or how you wanted to, what kind of imprint you wanted to make on this guy? Because we've seen in the comics, so many incarnations of the Riddler, on screen and in the comics. What did you want to, chiefly interpret?
So Bruno Heller, who created this series, before we started, we had a conversation about how we wanted him to be different, how we wanted him to. We wanted him to be a Riddler and an Edward Nygma that exists appropriately in today's world and what we understand about psychology, and for it to complement that, but also have our own spin on it. And what was most important to me was starting from being truly a good guy, well-intentioned, and moving into being bad. And really, thus far, of the people that we know are villains, he's the only person that we've started that way. He's truly just a good guy. So it's been super fun for me to let that evolve into, letting people abuse him and misuse him and mistreat him, and he's underappreciated, and his jokes people don't find funny, and so it's like actually letting this compound this human being. So there's a justification for him doing what he's doing, and it's human, and ideally an audience feels empathy for this guy. So that's what we wanted to do, and hopefully that is what we're doing. I wanted to start with someone that was a boy and make him turn into a man. That was really important to me, because the kind of behavior that we were writing is like, it's either cartoonish or it's youthful. And if someone is this kind of like socially inept, it can just be youthful. And his joy and his glee and kind of his largeness, as opposed to like what Ben is doing with James, it's like it can be appropriate to this world, though it may seem clowning at times. But that's going to change. But I needed like that intensity to be there, and to irritate people, and to like kind of grate on people, so that by the time that it turned, he can use that energy and that joy as the showman Riddler, as the terrifying person that wants to frame someone. One of my favorite comics is The Riddle Factory. It's so terrifying to me that you have this person that would start this show, choose one person from Gotham, and intimidate them so much that they commit suicide. That's really intense, but he's hands off, and so he's not responsible for it. But I wanted to make someone that like had enough energy that he could become that one day, or the person that has like a cane and is a showman. Whatever angle we end up taking this together, I want him to have that much energy.
I mean, one of the things I always like about the Riddler is he's probably the most genuinely earnest person that exists within the show. I mean, he genuinely just really throws himself out there and really wants people to like him. No one does. And
no
it actually,
one.
it hurts. I just really enjoy your portrayal of him.
Thank you.
And again, it's a very contrast to like someone like Penguin or Gordon. And obviously you can see where he's going to go. And he's always had a very complicated relationship with Catwoman and Poison Ivy in the comics. And obviously you don't know if you're going to do any scenes with him. But what villains and characters on the show that you haven't interacted with would you genuinely want to interact with, and how would Riddler kind of react to them?
I'm super excited to see how I get introduced to Bruce Wayne, because that has to happen eventually. And I think David is a pretty fantastic young actor. So I'm excited to get in the room with him. Also, I love Sean Pertwee, who plays Alfred, and I feel like I just want to be on screen with that guy. And then certainly, just with how people were responding to Robin's portrayal of the Penguin and my portrayal of Edward, the writers definitely wanted us to meet and see an audience response to that, which has been really warm and exciting. So, that's probably realistically where we're going to go next. The thing that's super exciting is not only do we have a really strong cast, but we all actually like each other as people. So the idea of working with any of these people is like really exciting, and that's pretty killer. So we're it's a good family. So there's a lot of possibility.
All these characters are really iconic, obviously. The audiences know interpretations of them, and so they're somewhat defined in our mind before we even enter the show. But for you as an actor, was there anything that you learned over the process of playing the character? Anything that you that sort of changed from the initial episode to where we are now?
Absolutely. I mean, look, just talking about the craft of how you make a TV show versus like film or theater, which is the world I'm really from. If you have a film script or you have a play, you have the whole thing in your hand. It's, maybe it's 2 hours, whatever. So you can look at this. You have the entire canvas, and you can make choices about your performance that are intelligent and specific, because you know where you're going to end up. And it's always more exciting to start as far away as possible. The thing about TV is, we are listening to fans, how they respond to the show, the aspects they like, what they don't like, and we've kind of navigated the format of the show and which characters are prominent based on people's response, right? So the reality is that we don't necessarily know where we're going, and so every time an event happens to Edward, I get to calibrate who this person is, how he behaves, how he responds to things, and that's really exciting. I guess it's more appropriate to real life.
Sure.
You don't know what could happen to you next month. It could be something really drastic, and it may change you for a very long time.
You're scaring me right now.
No, but it's a very real thing. So
yes,
there were basic necessities to this character that I had to choose, and that with the executive producers we made decisions about, and then everything after that is completely based on the events that are happening, and many are to come, especially in the last 4 just major events. So the thing that I'm so stoked about in these last 4 episodes, you will see Edward become a very different man, or at least a man that you haven't seen yet, which has been super exciting for me. I keep saying to people, it's like if this is the capacity of a human being, he's pretty much been floating up here, and it's like Tower of Terror drop out of nowhere. It's very exciting. So I'm really stoked for people to get to see that.
Excellent.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.